First thing in the morning, we made a real nice tank of mixed greenbacks, sardine, and lizardfish. The marine layer was too thick to see land, so we found our way out and around by keeping our eyes on the depth finder, back to the rising sun, and bow pointed in the southwest swell. The farther out we trolled, the warmer the water became. But other than small bonita, we blanked out on the troll. Around noon and out in 125 feet of water, I put a lizardfish down on the bottom and drifted parallel to a long line of lobster pot buoys. I was messing with my fly line rod when the bottom rod bent over. At the hook set, I felt a big head shake, but was unable to get him up off of the bottom and out of the structure fast enough. So I put the rod in the front fork and tried paddling circles around the fish, but could not get it free, and it eventually sawed me off. So after re-rigging, we paddled back up to the first lobster pot buoy in the line to repeat the drift that took us into the first biting fish. After dropping a second butt-hooked lizard down on a reverse dropper loop, I kept the bottom rod in my hands this time, so that when the rod loaded up, I was quick to reel down hard and fast, followed by a thumb on the spool, and all the time prying the fish as fast and as far off the bottom and away from that structure as possible. By the time it knew what was happening, it was too far from cover to get tangled up a second time. Because sometimes they take you around the bow, the minimum length rod I will use on the kayak is 7 foot. At deep color, I got my gaff out and stowed the paddle. With the bass gear, I had to take it easy, so the halibut came to the surface far from hot. Still, I backed off on the drag and used my thumb instead. And it was a good thing too, because he still had a few runs left in him. I was finally able to get a solid gaff shot by reaching over the halibut and sticking it in the belly just behind the collar. This always seems to stun them long enough to get the game clip on while they are still in the water and before removing the hook and gaff. The last thing we do is cut the throat and remove the gills. And if there are no sea lions around, I like to leave them in the water to pass. Bleed out, stiffen up a little before attempting to haul them up on the deck for the ride back to the beach with me.